day, good life to my listeners. Today we're going to explore the journey of the Carbon Papers 2. In the journey, we're going to select two of the most important things that one could apply to one's life. In the journey, they're like tools, like a carpenter with his hammer, like a tailor with his needle. We're going to use obedience and understanding. Obedience to what? To the laws of life. Understanding comes after the obedience. In understanding the laws of life, we find that in the structure of life, there is a mineral known as carbon. There is oxygen and there is hydrogen. That is known as the CHO arrangement. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Without these three players, there could be no life expression. This is chemistry. This is biochemistry. In the past 300 years, we have been listening, reading to things about things such as vitamins, protein, enzymes. Yet I found that very few people knows what these things are and what role they play in the human body. You know, it's like giving someone a toy and telling them that Santa Claus brought this toy. That's not the truth. So when we accept protein, vitamins, and enzymes as players in this life procession, then we are prepared to accept melanin. Remember what we said, and this could be investigated, that carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are the main players in not only supporting life, but in the manifestation of life. You see, everything that is constructed by the universe, creation or God, has the structure of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And it is starch-less. Whatever substance that is created by the universe is starch-less. We said melanin. Why? We use the word melanin because for the last 40 years, melanin is the buzzword in relating to health and nutrition or life itself, especially when it is referred to black people. Most black people tells me that melanin is what makes them black. There is nothing on the planet that is blacker than carbon. There is nothing on the planet that plays such an important role like carbon. Melanin appears nowhere. But again, we accepted vitamins, enzymes, and protein. Well, why not accept melanin? In the carbon papers, things would be clear. Things would be afforded to you in a way that it would be very clear to balance it against another, whatever perspective. Clarity is what affords us sight. So in the carbon papers, we find that melanin, as alluded to by many, as being such an important mineral, or yes, mineral or substance. Some says it is a neurochemical substance. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am not a student of medicine, or neither am I a student of philosophy. Everything that I have done is based on life arrangement. Every word, every decision, every act has to complement life procession. In my understanding of life, melanin doesn't appear anywhere. But I am told, or I was told by some of the people that promotes it and write about it, I asked the young lady, if melanin is such an important substance, would it be intelligent for me to ask, where is it produced? Where do you find it in the human body? Oh, of course, very intelligently, she said, in the neurons of the central nerve system. I was really surprised. I have never been to school, whether kindergarten or college. This lady has a doctorate degree in probably neuropathology, in psychology, in whatever else. Making the statement so easy that it is produced in the neuron of the brain, of the nerve, then one has to question, what is it that science has afforded us? Because this statement is grossly inconsistent. The nervous system produces nothing. The nervous system is a conduit. It conveys resonance from the brain to each organ, to each system, to each cell. Without the brain, the heart would never beat. It is the electricity from the brain that affords the heart to pulsate. In turn, the heart supplies the brain with oxygen via the blood. The lungs purifies it. The central nerve system is to convey that resonance to point B. It produces nothing. Any production of hormones or chemicals in the body is produced by glands. It isn't produced by the central nerve system. The central nerve system is the carrier of resonance. But because we have to accept what the intelligentsia has afforded us, because we have no right to question. That right has been removed from us. When the statement was made in New York by the Usher Research Institute that carrots were a poison, everybody and their grandmother in New York jumped all over me. Of course they had to, because the source of their information was inconsistent with the progression of life. So now we have melanin that we have to deal with. Why? I don't know, because I have never even alluded to melanin. And ladies and gentlemen, the Usher Research Institute has cured AIDS, sickle cell, lupus, herpes, cancer, blindness, diabetes, leukemia, paralysis, and many, many others. Do we consider melanin? Well, all of those who think that melanin plays such an important role and have sought it, they wind up walking into our office later on because the energy that they expected to receive from such substance was not forthcoming. The other part of this thing is that those who promote melanin have difficulty in explaining what part, what role does it play beside making you black. Well, the Chinese have little melanin. The Caucasian have little melanin. We have a whole lot. And this is what makes us black. But that is in contradiction with biochemistry. Black is carbon, not melanin. But since they are insisting, I have to ask some more questions. I was in a radio program by Mr. Jawanza in Washington, D.C. recently, and I was asked to share the program with Dr. Lilo Africa. I said, no, I don't think that I would like to do that. And they asked me why. I said, because there will be contradiction, and then we're going to confuse the listening audience. And I don't think that I want to do that, because after I read the research of Dr. Lilo Africa, I found that there was inconsistencies in his menu. And I didn't want to be the one to show those things. Well, Jawanza said, he insisted, he called back next day and said, we want you on the program to do precisely what you said exists. I'm embarrassed, because I don't want to be the one that they will consider the judge. So Dr. Lilo Africa came on the program, and he alluded to melanin. Oh, I said, well, I'm going to have to be very gentle, very understanding, and also compassionate, because I know that this man knows nothing about melanin. I know that to be a fact. How do I know? Listen carefully. As he goes on in his dissertation and he stopped, I said, Dr. Lilo Africa, you alluded to melanin as being the basis of life and color. He said, yes. I said, sir, whenever someone has been depleted of iron, the disease is anemia. And if they are heavily deficient or more deficient, you will come up with leukemia. When I'm suffering with rickets, there's calcium that has to be addressed. Bones have to be addressed with calcium. If my brain or when my brain is lacking of energy, well, again, we have to look at copper and carbon. But now that you have alluded to melanin, I want to know, when I find myself deficient, and I will, because minerals go through deficiency, absorbed and utilized with energy. You have to replace it, like you have to eat the food to replace iron, you have to eat the food to replace calcium. What foods do I eat to replace melanin? Those foods have been classified. I said, oh God. This is what is afforded to us as doctors. This is the black community. The cell that has been made sick is now submitting to inconsistencies. You know, like a woman that has lost her senses. When Dr. Lilo Africa made that statement, I was totally destroyed because I was hoping that he would have made a statement that was consistent with science, at least, or biology, or biochemistry. I was not too pleased because I want to hear something good. I'm not the only one that is supposed to be out there affording what I'm affording. I want there to be many that I could be at ease with myself because the load is heavy now. He said those foods has been classified. I said, by whom? Because if this food has been classified, we ought to know who classified them. Because we are the one at jeopardy. That was not forthcoming because I knew that the man didn't know what he was talking about. Then I was asked just the following week to go on another program. This time, it is with Mr. Kweku Ando. Oh my God, I didn't want to go on the program. Again, because I know that there are inconsistencies. Dr. Kweku Ando began to accuse me of a whole lot of things. Well, I expected that. Didn't matter. My position is not one that I designed for me, and it is not one that is based in science. It is based on that cosmic arrangement that never fails because it is consistent with life, which I will explain. Dr. Kweku Ando said that I go around telling people that they should not eat carrots and beans. That is the truth. Carrots were made in Holland. They aren't a product of nature or life or God. I am a product of nature and God and life. So therefore, my food should be from the same source, not from a machine they call a laboratory. Furthermore, if you have problems with carrots, because I made the statement, there are measures that you could use to know whether the substance is natural or unnatural. If a substance contains starch, rest assured it is unnatural because starch is carbonic acid. It will eat you up. Dr. Kweku Ando, you said to me that cassava is an African product. I said, no, sir. He was angry at me because I made statements in Atlanta, Georgia, where he has his place, his laboratory. I told the people of Atlanta that cassava should not be consumed because it is a product that contains cyanide. Cyanide has the ability to change the images in front of your eyes and also your thinking pattern. But since no one in the health field in or out of Africa has done any research on foods that is being afforded to us. You see, the gorilla cannot eat the polar bear food, nor vice versa. When I asked Dr. Kweku Ando, are you saying that cassava is a natural product? He said, yes, and you were wrong. I said, thank you. I didn't have to say any more because I knew that if my brother, Dr. Ando, had done the research that was necessary to afford himself as a practitioner of health, he would not have made that statement. So, myself, it would have been abusive on my part if I had pursued the dialogue, because I already knew that my brother didn't know. The other part of the carbon paper we, the so-called black people, need to understand that the reason why we are not as pleased with ourselves first and then others is because we have yet to understand those things that were made specifically for this gene group. I said that the human body, being a replica of the universe and life expression, if one organ has been suppressed, the whole body would be sick. The heart, the lungs, the liver, whatever organ. We find today that because of clarity, we see that there is a cell that has been suppressed. That's the cell that I, Dr. Sebi, represent. And it is until this cell or this organ that is a member of the whole human race, not given, but regain the freedom of expression and the freedom of giving, then and only then would peace be experienced internally and externally. Why? Look at history. Look at the example giving. We have been suppressed. And is it by chance that one of us has been selected to bring the healing of the world? That was what we were always about. That history, that story has not been told. What was happening in the forests of Africa millions and millions of years ago? That story has not been told. But as we begin to do that which the Bible recommends that we do, we will see everything. Honor thy mother and thy father, that thy days may be long on the land. we in compliance? The answer is no. Should we feel guilty? The answer is no. We, like everyone else, find ourselves just as angry as the lion, the cheetah, because the diet has been changed. The carbon papers intend to bring clarity and that we will be able to pursue this honoring thy mother and thy father. Ladies and gentlemen, I assure you that the very minute that you embark on such journey, stress and disease would immediately cease. Yes, this is the carbon paper too. Linking with the cosmic procession, not regurgitating words. It is about clarity. Thank you very much.